Okay, how can organizers ensure that marginalized voices are centered in a campaign or cause? Organizers can make sure marginalized voices are heard by including those communities in leadership and decision making. Instead of speaking for them, they should create spaces where people can share their own experiences and ideas. This could mean holding community meetings, forming advisory groups, or just making sure events and materials are accessible to everyone. The goal is to make sure the people most affected by the issue have real influence over what happens rather than just being invited to the conversation without any real power. It's also important to recognize how power works within a campaign. Sometimes even well meaning groups end up prioritizing voices that already have more privilege. Organizers should take a step back and think about who is making the big decisions and who is actually being heard. They can also help by sharing the stories of marginalized people and supporting them in leadership roles. Working with grassroots organizations that already have strong ties to these communities can also make a big difference. In the end, it's not just about marginalized voices, it's about making sure they are leading the way. How does the media influence the success or failure of community organizing events? The media is a huge deal when it comes to success or failure of community organizing efforts because it shapes how people see the movement. When media coverage is positive, it can really help by shining a light on important issues and getting more people involved. For example, when journalists share real stories from the community, it makes the issues feel personal and urgent. Social media is also a big part of it because it lets organizers spread their message quickly and directly without having to rely solely on traditional news outlets. On the other side, negative or biased coverage can really hurt a movement. If the media focuses on controversies or misinterprets what's going on, it can turn people off or even make the public less likely to support the cause. Sometimes powerful groups might try to control the narrative, which can drown out the voices of who they really are. That's why it's so important for organizers to have solid media strategies, building good relationships with journalists, being clear with the messaging, and using social media to set the record straight. How can community organizers effectively raise funds and resources for their cause in today's media savvy field? Community organizers can raise money and resources by using both online and in person strategies to reach as many people as possible. Crowdfunding sites like GoFundMe or Kickstarter are great for getting small donations from a lot of people, especially if organizers are using social media to spread the word. Posting videos, personal stories, and eye catching graphics can make the cause more relatable and encourage people to share and donate. Working with influencers or local businesses can also help reach new audiences and bring in more support. At the same time, traditional fundraising methods still matter. Applying for grants and nonprofits or government programs can bring in larger amounts of money, while local businesses might be willing to donate supplies or sponsor events. Organizers can also host fundraisers like benefit concerts or community events to raise money while connecting with people face to face. The best approach is to combine both digital and in person efforts to campaign so the campaign reaches more people and feels personal enough to get them to back. What strategies can be used to counter opposition from groups with more financial or political power? When going up against groups with more power or money, community organizers have to be strategic and focus on what they do best. One of the most effective ways to push back is by building strong grassroots support. A well organized group of dedicated people can make a big impact even without a huge budget. Petitions, protests, and community meetings can show a lot of people care about the issue, which puts pressure on decision makers. Social media is also a major tool because it helps spread message fast, call out the misinformation, and bring in supporters without needing a ton of money. Another good strategy is teaming up with organizations that have similar goals. Partnering with nonprofits, advocacy groups, or even politicians who support the cause can help balance out the power difference. Organizers should also focus on storytelling. Real stories from people affected by the issue can be more powerful than money or political influence. Most importantly, staying persistent is key even when up against well funded opposition. A determined movement that keeps pushing forward can still make a difference over time. And how can technology and social media be both an advantage and a challenge in organizing? Technology and social media can be a big advantage for organizing because they make it super easy to get messages out fast and reach a ton of people. Organizers can use platforms like Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok to share updates, ask for help, and connect with supporters. It's also cheaper than traditional ways of organizing like flyers or big events. Social media helps people come together around a cause even if they're far away from each other. It can help build a community and raise awareness about important issues that might not get attention elsewhere. But social media and technology also have their challenges. The fast spread of information can also mean misinformation spreads just as quickly, and it's hard for organizers to control what gets shared. Plus, it can be overwhelming for people to keep up with constant updates or requests for actions, which can cause burnout. Social media platforms are also owned by big companies, which might censor or block certain messages if they don't align with their interests. So while technology can be a powerful tool for change, organizers need to be aware of the risks and use it wisely.